Yeah, I mean, this will kind of work. Sorry. I had bigger plans in mind, but my streaming software wasn't working. So, I'll let people join us. We'll do some assembly. I won't give up quite yet on the streaming. But it was quite a struggle to get through the technical issues just to get here to see. Anyway, if you're just joining us, I think this thing's working. You can tell me when you get here. We assembled this the other day. Eula Viva with Rakza 7 both sides. Plays well. And then Yasaka Sweden Extra, Rakza Z, both sides. Plays well. So, those are just the reports on those two rackets. We'll talk more about them later, but actually, since my other software didn't work the way I wanted to, we're not going to talk that much about it. So, like I say, whenever you're doing assembly, you shouldn't clutter your table too much, but here I am with everything cluttered. So, let me double check on my computer that everything's working properly, because like I said, I've had a lot of streaming issues already, and I want to make sure I'm seeing things in the right setting. Let's see. It's working properly because, like, yep, sounds like it is. Sounds like I'm talking and you're watching, so thank you for watching. You're out there. Apologies to anyone who's been watching a stream lately and my connection's been bad. I'm working on it. I think I fixed it. Anyway, as usual, we'll get a slow start in. I'll explain what I'm doing a few times and then eventually we'll get started, but we'll see what we get into. So, today the main project is putting these Sandway Ultra Spin T88 rubbers on the Sandway Fextra blade, the 7-ply all-wood blade. So that's my main mission for the day. Alright, so if you're watching, make sure you remind me to put these Sandway T88 Ultra Spin rubbers on the Sandway Fextra. We'll check that out in a second. Maybe we'll weigh the blade again. I think I remember the weight, all that. This is one of the T88 rubbers that I had on the other Fextra blade. I took off. Little by little, I'll peel this glue off, so that might be something I do in the downtime. If you haven't joined me on an assembly stream before, they are slow, right? There's not a lot of action. Once I start gluing, it takes a while, so don't expect a lot going on, and definitely go about your day and or night while I ramble on about random things. You know, originally I had planned using my computer so I could show the Megaspin website. I'd say, oh, this is a Sandway Fextra 7, $30 on the Megaspin 7-ply blade. It's like an offensive minus or all plus, but let's take a look at it. No need to keep talking about it without showing it to you, right? So, Sandway, real shiny. You can almost see my face in it in the mirror, but thankfully we can't. On my other stream, I was planning to show my face occasionally, but I'm not sure if it's a loss or a gain. All right, we can vote on that later. Anyway, Sandway Fextra 7-ply blade, all wood. It's got 7 plies. You can kind of see it. Let's see. Can you see it well? So that's got 7 plies. Look. 1, 2, 3. So you got 2 thin ones, thicker one that's light. The middle one's that darker, thicker blade or core part. And the same on the other side, 3 more. So 3 and 3 and 1 thicker core. This is the flared handle blade. This is the straight handle blade, right? So you can see the difference. The left side is the flared handle blade, right side is the straight. So we'll be assembling those, we'll be messing with them. I'm gonna switch the T88 rubber off of this one because we tested it out, we saw it's good. And that's what I'm gonna put on this one. But on this blade, I wanna test something else. Well, not really test it out. I'm gonna put the short pips. 80240 Mystery 3, I'm gonna put that on this blade on the forehand. It'll be black to go with the blue long pips, so then it'll be short pips, long pips, and it's a straight handle so you can twiddle around. So this will be kind of just a very interesting setup, mainly for training with people, and you could kind of, okay, we're going to play the long pip side, we're going to play the short pip side. we can all get some practice in against the various surfaces. So we'll get to that. If you're joining me, I can see your comments, so let me know if there's anything in particular you're interested in, right? If you're interested in the blades, the rubbers, some of the assorted other stuff, you let me know, right? I don't know exactly what people want, but I'm going to assemble some stuff. I have other equipment I can show too, but sometimes I don't want to sit here and just show random stuff if that's not what people are interested in, so just let me know. All right, these are rubber film protector sheets that came with the blade from the seller. I mean, I don't use this type of stuff, but it can work to help protect the rubbers, right? You stick it on here when your blade is in its case. So we'll get started on a little bit of the assembly, at least the official assembly thing, right? Okay, I'm gonna have to put my stuff over there. It'll be a work in progress, right? If you're joining me, thank you for joining me. Feel free to say hi. Pretty sure I can read the chat, so I could say something if I wanted, but we're here. And I'll move at not quite a snail's pace, but I'm certainly not in a hurry. So let me do that. Let me put a few things in the chat just to make sure everything's working. Make sure I know what I'm doing. Make sure, right? Let's see. Did that work? Okay. Yeah, so that's my affiliate link for Megaspin. If you're gonna get table tennis equipment, you live in the US, it's a good place to shop, great selection, possibly the best selection in my opinion, and best prices. You can always even price match if you really find a lower price, you can see. But anyway, you can get this Fextra 7 there on Megaspin, 7-ply blade, about $30. You can get these T88 Ultra Spin rubbers, about $10 per sheet, so altogether it's about $50. I was going to show you how to put that order together with assembly, but that didn't work. So, without further ado, and without any more so's until I get started, we'll get this going. We're going to do the forehand side first. Yeah, remind me if I start putting stuff too far out of the picture. I had a totally different camera setup before, and then it just wasn't working. Anyway, I mean, technically that almost fits perfectly, but I'm not going to do that because this blade, once assembled properly, will last a long time. And I want to put the rubbers on there properly. Right. So Samway Ultra Spin T88. You can find it on AliExpress, but you can also get it on Megaspin. Samway is a brand from China. They make shoes, blades, rubbers. They're good, affordable, right? This rubber, depending on where you get it, let's say it's between $8 and $10. So it's not like a special rubber. It's not a Tenergy, not a Dignics, but it's good. It's got good grip. It's not bouncy, but it has some bounce to it. And that's about it. So as usual, I like to set the rubbers. You can see it comes with a little bit of something on the blade. I got these off AliExpress, so you can see there's a little bit of something on the blade, possibly a defect, a little bit on the rubbers. So if you want the best stuff, typically get it from a little bit different place. But anyway, you let me know if I'm moving too slow, too quick. Probably not gonna be too quick, right? Got this. Got this. We'll get started with the assembly part, and then I'll make some random observations throughout. So you might say, why am I always doing these live streams? Well, to be fully honest, I'm trying to get watch hours on my channel. Maybe a year from now I would have enough watch hours to get monetized, and then that would help me, with making videos and content and stuff like that. So that's probably if there was no potential chance of that, I wouldn't be doing it most likely. Full disclosure. But I'm here. So hopefully help people learn to assemble rackets, because I think it's a good skill to have. It lets you kind of reuse rubbers, test things out. I think part of table tennis is just testing things out, experimenting, having fun. Different combinations, right? You will see me make a racket with short pips, long pips. I don't even play pips, but it'll be fun to have a racket like that. And we were even discussing in my club that people seem to be gravitating to some of the pips rackets lately to try and beat each other in the different tournaments and stuff. So it's kind of fun. Some people switching to long pips, some already using short pips and just kind of using it when they want to against the pips players, other people using them for the first time and developing that style. But it's good for all of us, get practice against it, for the players who are going to use them, get practice using it, and that's that. So that's the glue on the rubber. Looks pretty good. We're using Revolution 3 glue. Normal viscosity. It takes a little while to dry, but in my opinion, like I always say, it's a good thing. So look, this is a brand new blade. Let's see how the glue reacts on it. I'm going to put a good amount of glue because I think it'll absorb in there pretty good. I haven't done a good job of keeping the top of this glue bottle clean, so it's not coming out the way I'd like it to. That's something I'll have to address. Yeah, see, some glues, they would already start drying by now and I'd be concerned, but Revolution 3 dries slowly. And there's already glue in this sponge, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, so I can feel as the sponge goes across the surface of this blade, it's not completely smooth. Right. Different blade manufacturers have different levels of kind of quality control and stuff like that. And like I said, this blade's between $20 and $30, depending on where you get it. So you get a good blade that plays well, but obviously there's gonna be little things about it that are not quite on par with the major expensive blades. Let me know if I'm holding it too close also, right? If you can't see it, sometimes feel free to let me know. Anyway, that's the glue on the blade pretty much. I guess I'll put a little more here. All right. So you put that glue on and you wait for it to dry clear. Once it's clear on the blade and the rubber, you put them together. And to put them together, you put it down just a little bit, just to get started, and then use the roller gently on the first one to roll it down. You don't want to stretch it out, right? Because then when it dries, it'll contract a bit, and if you cut it, it won't be even. So you gently roll it down the first one, but not so gently that you allow air bubbles, but not so aggressively that it stretches it out, right? Kind of firm, but gentle. And then once you get the first one rolled down and it's set flat, you can really roll it down, make sure you get it pressed on there good. You can turn it over, press it against the table, put books on it, whatever. So you gotta wait for this one to dry, this one to dry. The blade typically dries quicker than the rubber. I can see this rubber is actually absorbing it pretty good this time. I didn't put a ton on it. So yeah, if you're watching, let me know. I guess that chat thing might be annoying looking at that, right? Or it just makes it, I'm not sure what it looks like on your phones. I'll have to check. Let me know, right? Feel free to chat in the chat. That's what it's there for. Feel free to tell me, talk more, talk less. I don't mind. What's up, Eric? How's it going? I've seen those training videos you've been putting up lately. Looks like you guys are doing a good job. Keep it up. Happy to see that. Yeah, let me know if you've assembled any rackets lately. Eric, let me know how the training's going, right? What you guys are working on. How's it going? Like improvements? You know, are you planning to play any tournaments? Things like that. Cameron Akers, appreciate it. Says W Stream Man, I love the vibes already. Thanks. We like your vibes too. So yeah, I mean, as long as we're just chilling, you know, you don't expect too much from me. I can't I'm just assembling rackets. I'm gluing rubbers on the blades, right? What else can I do? I had a different stream setup where I was going to do the whole show you on Megaspin website. Oh, this is a T88. This is where you buy it. This is how you put it. But we'll go low profile. Just put together some rackets. So this stuff dried pretty quick. You guys tell me, right? If you want more assembly information, I'll show you more stuff. If you're kind of bored of my assembly stuff already, I won't tell you so much, right? Some people have already watched me assemble plenty of rackets. Other people might be watching for the first time. And yeah. Let's see, Eric says he recently replaced his H3 Neo with Rakza 7 on his channel. Okay, had a few air bubbles. All right. Yeah, the air bubbles can be a bummer. I don't know. Sometimes they might affect it, sometimes they don't. But definitely, I think Rakza 7 is great. We've already talked about it a lot, Eric. You know my opinion on Rakza 7. You can't go wrong with it. I think Rakza 7 is kind of the best rubber for a long time. And then eventually maybe you figure out, I want this more specific or that. But I always felt Rakza 7 on both sides of certain blades was the best setup I could make with that blade, right? I never doubt Rakza 7. It can do everything, and it doesn't get in your way. You don't make shots where you go, you blame your equipment. Really, it's more you just got to work with it. So this is going. I see a few little spots here. I don't know. I did use this sponge from the other day. I think I'm gonna get a new sponge, or I'll use this one. Because I think this sponge was dirty from the other day. Oops. Almost wiped out. So yeah, definitely use clean sponges. The old dry glue's in there. Don't be a hero. Right. Yeah, a few of these spots. We'll see. Hopefully it works out. Not gonna worry about it. What blade are you using again, Eric? Let me think. Oh, the Nataku Acoustic or a different one? And Cameron, if you're still around, let me know if you assemble your own rackets or if you're interested in it or whatever, or if it's just kind of passing through, watching some table tennis stuff. If you have any questions, always happy to answer stuff. Let's see. See, I'm patiently watching these little dots on this thing because I'm not sure if that was... I think it came off my sponge. Maybe not. Maybe it's just drying weird. I'm just hoping it'll be smooth when I put on the rubber, but... I guess the good news is I have a bunch of these Ultra Spin rubbers. If I had to do an emergency move, I'd survive. Oh, you got that? Yeah, the Harimoto. I forgot. Yeah, that's awesome. How are you liking the Harimoto? I think that's good, actually. Rakza 7 on there. Yeah, that should be nice. I really like the Inner Force stuff. You know, I have my Viscarias here for maybe one day in the future to go back to, but for now, I'm more than happy with my Harimoto. I didn't weigh this blade today, but we weighed it the other day. It was like 88 grams, 89 grams. We got the scale there. If anyone's out there watching, any of my friends that like to weigh everything around, let me know and we'll weigh some stuff. But I figure most people probably don't really care about the weights that much. I might be wrong. And certainly no offense to those who do. All right, I'm going to try to clean this cap a little bit real quick. So this has got like 2 more minutes left. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure that's going to work out the way I want it to, but it's all right. I'm still here. I'm just dealing with this dried up glue. One sec. One second. You can see this cap. It's got the dried up glue in there. I'm trying to peel that out just to give you an idea of what I'm doing. I'm not like messing around with it. Anyway, the good thing about water-based glue is like you can either let it dry out or you can use water to get it so wet that it falls apart. Those are your 2 options. Usually if you have to get it out of something. Right now I need to find something that fits in the cap. I'll be right back. Almost there. Maybe. Anyone who's watched a live assembly stream knows things come up, you know, you can't plan for stuff when you're assembling rackets live. What can you do? All right, so the thing's dry. I'll put it on in a second. I'm back. Sorry for those who were here and I didn't. Yeah, for sure. I bet it is a lot easier. You hate to use port. Yeah, sorry, Eric. Well, on something like, for example, the VR videos I've made lately, it works because you can maximize it and the resolution's good. But yeah, I know. I'll be honest, as I discussed before for the watch hours, the portrait, these vertical videos or vertical lives, YouTube pushes them out a little further, so they're giving me a chance to get watch hours. So full disclosure, that's what's going on. Anyway, if one day my horizontal live videos get a lot of views, I'll be right back there. So look, those spots that I was worried about dried up. All right, thank goodness. Thank goodness. And I appreciate your honesty, Eric. It's good feedback. I always appreciate the feedback, so let me know. And I'm not trying to mix it up, right? Sometimes I'll do other ones too. Like on my computer, maybe I have to do the horizontal videos where I use the different windows, this and that. But I learned that a lot of people like to watch stuff on their phones. And you can minimize the portrait one in the corner of the phone and they can kind of like watch what I'm doing and do stuff on their phone. And I imagine I'm on mute, but you know, maybe they're listening to me, right? I don't know. Maybe my voice is being projected to an audience of thousands of people as they watch me assemble rackets. Maybe not, right? Most likely not. We got ahead of ourselves there. All right, anyway, like I say, when you're doing the first side, it's easy because you just stick the blade all the way up to the edge of the table. It's easy. It just goes square. And actually, now that I have the video thing from here on the left side, and I'm not like going around it, I'm predicting I'll do a good job with this first rubber, but let's see. I guess I'm still kind of like wrapped around the thing. How far over can I go? Okay, that's good enough. Eric, you're a man of principles, and I can respect that, all right? I respect it. All right, let's go. T88. One sec. I want that. You always want the roller close to you. All right, two things. You want the roller close enough where you can grab it without it rolling away. Oh my gosh. Anyway, give me a second. Roller close enough where you don't want away, and you don't want anything around that you're going to roll into because you want to get a nice clean roll. Is this in the camera frame? Maybe I'll move it just a bit. Anyway, there's a little arrow in the middle of the rubber. You can see it under the T88 Ultra Spin to show you where the middle is, so that makes it easy to line up. This rubber's got a kind of fairly dense sponge, even though it's not super hard, but it's not soft, so it's kind of easy to deal with. All right, get the bottom part lined up right. I pushed down a little bit too much in the middle, but it's not a big deal. Roll down firmly, but don't stretch it. Now, like I said, this sponge is not so soft, so I can kind of roll down strongly on the first one and not worry about it. If it was a Tenergy, you have to be a little more worried because it'll stretch out more. There's the spring sponge technology, right? So be mindful of the spring sponge technology. But this Sandway T88 rubber, costing around $7 to $10, does not have spring sponge technology. All right, so that's on there. It's pretty good. So, I mean, you can kind of see little imperfections on the surface of rubber like this. That's kind of the nature of a cheaper rubber, right? They're not perfect. Because this is a new one, and there's still little dents, creases in it, but it's no big deal. It'll play just fine. Yeah, so Nikola Novakovic says, I switched back to Flextra with 2 Rosenas, and I love it. A lot more consistent than my super fancy blade. Yeah, honestly, that's part of why I have these Flextras around, right? I want to have these good 7-ply blades. Not too fast, not too slow, to kind of use every once in a while and kind of show myself whether it could make sense to play with a 7-ply blade as opposed to my intercarbon blade. But for training and stuff, I really like these. They work well with lots of rubbers, lots of different surfaces, the short pips, long pips, things like that. So I think it's a great blade, right? I asked for lighter ones this time, but no matter what, I think you got a good blade when you get these. And for the price, you can't really beat it. I think it's kind of right. I think a 7-ply blade like this is kind of what a 5-ply blade used to be back with when people talked about the old ball and things like that. Now a 7-ply blade like this in the all plus, off minus category is kind of where you want to be, for where a lot of people want to be, let's say, right? So yeah, Rosena on the Flextra, I'll keep that in mind. If I get a hold of any Rosenas to put on one, I'll try it because that sounds like a great combo. I know Rosena's, similar to Rakza 7, right? That's why I recommend Rakza 7 a lot to people both sides. Rosanna is another one. You can use it on both sides. It's very affordable now. Now that Rakza 7 is more expensive than it used to be, Rosanna offers more value even at that price point, right? Back when Rakza 7, yeah, see, this is the problem. the rubber's sticky and I stuck it to the table. I should have used this cardboard when I did that. Because what happens is you glue it and then you try and pull it up from the table and it could pull up the rubber a little bit. So that was silly of me. I'm not going to do that anymore, actually. A little more rolling, then we'll cut it. And then we'll do the other side. Let's see. Anyway. So yeah, the straight handle on that blade. Yeah, I like both these handles. In general, they feel good. They feel solid, just like that Yin-He handle I have on a different blade. But particularly, of course, this square handle, yeah, is solid for sure. It fits good in the hand. And that's why, honestly, I tried the short pips rubber on the Fextra, and that's what I'm going to put on here on the forehand in a second. And it played really well. I would normally not have this one here, but we used this the other day, and my friend who's a chopper and long pips player, he said it was good. So I'll leave it on there to have the two-sided kind of wacky racket to practice with for us. Give each other different looks. All right, so I'll cut this soon. I'll get the glue going on this one. I'll just cut it. All right. So, real quick, I'm curious. We'll do it like this. I'll weigh it before I cut it, and then I'll cut it, and then weigh it. And then we'll know. We'll see how much I cut off from the rubber. Even though my scale friends aren't here. So it's 152.03. Remember that. 152. All right, remember that. 152 before I cut it. All right, so we cut it. I'm not sure if that was good view or not good view. That's the sweat from my hand. It's not imperfections, all right? So it's pretty good. What was that, 152 before I cut it? Guesses after cutting? 144. Hello. Oh my gosh, I'm crazy, aren't I? Bad guess. 135.41. Yeah, there's all different stuff around here. I always joke about, because I say you shouldn't have a ton of stuff on the table when you're assembling, but then I stack the table with as much junk, let's call it, as I can find. But that's because I gotta create something, some atmosphere, right? What are you playing with? You got the Dignics 09C and Dignics 05 on the Ovtcharov. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got Dignics 09C, both sides of my Harimoto Super ALC. What do you think about the Ovtcharov blade? Do you like that one? I haven't tried that, but I would like to try that. And I definitely, Dignics 09C, Dignics 05 is definitely what I consider a more standard set. 09C on the backhand also is a little bit different, but I like it. But I think possibly more immediately I would play better with the 05 at the moment, but the way I want to play, I like the 09C. Alright, so let's do that. We're going to assemble this red one. Let's weigh the uncut red rubber, so let's think. There's no way. There's no calculations I can make to guess. But we went from that, we went 17 on the cut. 17. These things are pretty heavy, I guess. Right? Even though the sponge is not super hard, they're pretty heavy. Stop putting all this stuff on it. What's up, turkey boy? I wish I was making some turkey, but it's not Thanksgiving. I'm putting together some paddles, some table tennis rackets, so check it out. I put this rubber on this blade already. This is the forehand side. This will be the black Sandway T88. And I'm going to put the backhand side, the red one, on here. So I got to glue it and cut it. And then this racket will go to my friend Ellis for Life. He makes adapters for 11 VR, the virtual reality game. You can check it out here. See how it says Ellis for Life? This is the I think it's the hybrid adapter. I'm not 100% sure on the name, but it's great. Look, I can put my finger on here now. I'm going to put some rubbers on this one and play with it, right? So you can take a look at my two VR adapters. If you're curious, if you're not curious, bear with me a second while I explain it. This solid slime adapter. I'd say this is kind of the most popular one, most well-known. I got my Dignics 9C rubbers cut on there to make it feel more realistic in the thing. The racket goes, the VR controller goes through the middle on this one, right? That's the solid slime. That's my current one that I use the most, but this is one that Ellis for Life made for me, one of my practice partners and friends in the game. So this is how the controller goes in. Right, I'll push it in, but I don't feel like it at the moment. And so that's how the controller goes. I'm working on getting better with this one, trying it out. It feels good. Definitely for this type of design, there's a few different adapters with similar designs. This is a great one. For my style, I'm still figuring out what's the best, but I definitely like this one. Some awesome, features on this one. And for serving, look, this one's actually amazing because you can change your grip for the serve. So that's kind of the most interesting part for me there, right? So I love my solid slime, but we're checking out that Ellis for Life EV2 hybrid, something like that. What was I doing? Okay, we're weighing this first real quick. Like I always say, bear with me. I get distracted easily. I imagine some people who watch table tennis assembly streams also get distracted easily, right? You're probably doing something else, and now all of a sudden you're watching me put together rackets. I captured your attention. 56.62, right? And that other one lost 17 grams nearly when I cut it. So if you figure it's like 40 grams when it's cut, which is on the low end because I say 40 to 50 grams when rubbers are cut a lot of times. Makes sense. Oh, that's like a normal number. So that's good. It's real good. So if you can guess, we're going to do some gluing. We're going to do some weighting. I'm going to do some rambling. And that's where we're at. All right, so I'm going to use this other sponge now. I don't know why I banished that other one. But remember, I cleaned the top on this, so let's see. I think it's going to come out a little quicker. Yeah. We're back in business. Back in the saddle again. So if you're watching... Oh, thanks, Eric. Appreciate you sharing the stream. Hopefully, see this... The reason I don't like these yellow sponges, they absorb the glue a lot quicker. So I need to put some more glue on here. These yellow sponges absorb the glue a lot more than the white ones I was using that come with the glue. This is like, I don't know. I think this is one of the GWO sponges, right? Whenever something goes wrong, I always blame the GWO supplies. It's like my scapegoat. Yeah, look. GWO sponge won't even stay in the clip. I'm going to write a letter to the headquarters in Germany. Anyway, moving on. Get the glue on there. I'll probably go back to actually the other type of sponge after this one. I'm already annoyed with this one. But I'll just get a new one of the one that I replaced. Yeah, something's going wrong here with this clip. Live assembly streams, things tend to go wrong. We're falling apart here. Just kidding. These are all minor concerns. Oh no. He's done it again. Oh yeah. Okay, before I give up on this sponge, I'll put it on the blade. Give me a moment to get this on. Check any comments. You guys are great. Appreciate you being here. Let me know if you care about anything in particular. Welcome to guide to discussion there if I can. So same idea. You always got to judge. If your glue dries quickly, use more glue. Be quicker. Right? It's pretty obvious, but maybe you got to think about it. See, Revolution 3, the only thing is it bubbles up a little bit if you put a little too much on. So I got to spread it a little more. But it doesn't dry quickly, so you can kind of keep spreading it, which is good. I'm happy with that. So, let's see. Okay, yeah, Nicole. Yeah, I mean, I agree too. Sometimes I play with my Harimoto, and I think it'd be easier to put the ball on the table, maybe because the distance off the racket would be a little shorter off a slower blade, more flex, more dwell time. So that's why, yeah, I'm 100%. I got these Fextra blades around for a reason, right? I believe 7-ply blades have a place in the repertoire. I'm not sure. I would check. I mean, Revolution 3 stuff is cheap, right? So if you could see either if the glue comes with a lot of sponges or if they sell a sponge in particular. I heard makeup sponges are similar, but honestly, all the other sponge alternatives haven't been that great that I tried. So yeah, I don't like these yellow sponges that much. They're all right, but they absorb a lot of glue and they don't spread it the way I like. It ends up bubbly. I think something's wrong with this clip. I'm gonna go back to the other. Alright, so these are the sponges that come with the Revolution 3 glue. Kind of square rectangles. Let me stop myself right there. Anyway, so I cut them in half like this. This is kind of enough. I want just enough to be able to use on each side, really. I guess is the best way to explain it, right? I want to be able to use this twice. So I want to be able to use it like this, and then the glue will go to like here, halfway through, and then I want to be able to switch it around for the next time. And don't mess around with stuff above your gluing, because if it falls down, you might get debris in it. So be a little more careful than I am. But whatever. Anyway. So yeah, maybe look into different sponges. I'm not sure. Makeup sponges might be possible. I don't know. I've never really run out of the sponges, I guess. There's always been kind of, as long as you don't, you try to make use of each of them. I try to use each one twice, right? Like I said, one side, then one side. I try to use one for like most sessions, but something went wrong with this one. I tried out. And then, whenever you buy new glue, just use the sponges. But this one came with like 3 strips of these ones, pretty big strips of the sponges, so it's a good deal. This was like $22 or something, and I've been using this for a while. And, I mean, you've seen I've assembled plenty of rackets already with it. All right, and then little by little declutter the area. Maybe I'll leave these. These are cool, right? We'll leave them like that. That's my Samway shoe. Here's some Revolution 3 cleaner. This stuff also lasts like forever, right? Bio rubber. I don't use it that much because sometimes if you put it on and rub it too much, it'll like actually start like removing the rubber surface. So maybe that's too good of a cleaner. And then Spin Refresh is easy. Comes with it's got a pump spray. Use the sponge. That's for like being lazy. I like that. I don't use it. I mean, I use it all the time. But I use it most of the time when I am cleaning, but I don't use it that often as far as cleaning it. You can use like water or sweat. So yeah, get this going. Next up, we're gonna take this T88 off this Samway Fextra. I put this one on here. I took it off the Yasaka Sweden Extra. I put it on the Fextra to test it out on this blade because I wanted to make this one for my friend. It plays well on the Fextra. It wasn't so good on the Sweden Extra. It was a little too slow on the Sweden Extra, and like the flex and stuff didn't work with this rubber. But on the Fextra, it has enough snap to the blade to go with this control rubber. That doesn't have a lot of bounce, but it has good spin, and it has like a medium sponge. So it has enough there when you hit hard, but it's got good control of the lower shot. So we're going to take this off, and we'll save that. We'll put this on a different racket sometime once right, so now I have an extra T88 red black. I'll put that on some racket once I get this glue off. I started peeling this glue off, as you can see, but I have to peel the glue off. Most likely peel the glue off. Right. So when you take a rubber off, then you try and get the old glue, any residue off first. Yeah, I mean, that DHS glue, I'm pretty sure is similar to that Antaku glue, and I can't use that stuff. That stuff dries too quick, and I'm already like, I've just barely started talking, and it's already dry, right? So this glue takes like 15 minutes to dry fully, but you have at least like 4 minutes to, maneuver, let's say. Even longer, probably. But I am noticing, like, when you take rubbers off that have Revolution 3 glue, you have the residue on there, and you have to peel it off, and that's a pain. Or you'd have to use more layers of glue to help peel it off, or this or that. Or just deal with it. Whereas some other glues, if you do change them a lot, it's nice because they don't leave as much residue. We were talking about that the other day. So, There's trade-offs. Maybe I'll try a different... There's an odorless version of Revolution 3 glue. I'll try that next time, I think. Because this one kind of smells like ammonia. So I'm trying to do this over here so I don't get these pieces of dry glue all over that blade that has glue on it. If you're wondering. So yeah, we're trying to do that. We're putting this on. I'm planning to stream my VR training in the morning, but I had so many troubles just now with my computer streaming that I'm no longer confident that stream's going to work. But I'll test it out first before. But that would be cool if you want to watch. Should be around 10 a.m. Eastern time, my VR training. And then, I don't know. That's about all I have planned. Our club's closed this weekend. I'll mostly be resting. I'm kind of worn out from VR and training in the club. And in May, I have a couple tournaments, so I got to make sure I go in fresh for the next few weeks to kind of ramp things up, as opposed to being really worn out and having to take it easy leading up to it, which I wouldn't want. My last couple of tournaments I was kind of hurt going into, which is even worse. So trying to go in fresh, trying to go in ready to win. We'll see. If you're watching, I really appreciate it. Thanks, Eric, chatting with me. Thank you to Nicola. Thank you to Cameron. All right, shout outs to everyone who's been here hanging out, saying hi. And like I say, if you're watching and you're curious about stuff, ask questions, right, about the blades, about the rubbers, about the process. If you'd rather listen to, like, the sounds of me taking the old glue off and being quiet, I can do that too. Anyway, that's good enough, I think. Alright, I think that rubber's just about dry. I can see a little white left on it, but it's almost there. So maybe 3 minutes on that. 3-minute countdown. Everyone in their places. We're going to assemble the rubber. I repeat. Alright. This is almost there, right? I'll keep saying that, but it's kind of like if you have nothing else to do, why not make sure it's in better shape than it is. Alright, that's good. You can see the debris here. Those are the long pips. It's 0.7 millimeter sponge, I believe. Yinhe Moxa 955. Very bristly. My friend said it was grippy as far as long pips rubbers go. It seemed to work pretty well for some chops. I don't know so much about long pips, short pips. I know these short pips. Let's talk about them because that's what's going on there next. Short pips, 80240, Mystery 3 from the brand 729, Friendship RITC. This one, 2.2 millimeter sponge. It says hardness 38. They definitely don't feel hard, so shoot. Technical difficulties. He's kicked the camera. All right. I don't know if that's where it's supposed to be or not. Sunrise Table Tennis Club. If you're in the Tampa Bay area, check out Sunrise Table Tennis Club. Check out our website, sunrisetabletennis.com. We're going to have a doubles tournament at the end of May. More information will be out soon, so anyone watching, you can play doubles. Keep an eye out. It's a special tournament for our club. So keep in mind. I wonder if you can see this. These short pips, the texture on the pips, I never really thought about that, right? You think of the pips as like how far apart they are, how long they are, this and that. But look at the texture on the pips themselves, the short pips. That's kind of crazy, right? Pretty crazy. This has got a 2.2 millimeter sponge. It's supposed to be the short pips rubber that's easiest to play with. If you're coming from inverted rubbers. All right, I'll deal with this in a moment. Let me deal with this one first. Sorry to the viewers who have left and got bored with me. I understand. It's a chore. But It's all good. All good. So, same idea. Can you see the blade? No, I'm too far over there. Sorry. We're missing the most important part. All right. Missing... Yeah, right? That was pretty cool, Eric. I thought so too. Thanks. All right. So, same idea like I told everyone before. There's a little arrow in the middle of the rubber. You can kind of see it. Let's see if you can see it. At the very bottom, under the ultra spin. Right there it is. Boom. Calvin McCabe's shout out. You can always have a shout out, Calvin. And I'm going to try to get that shout out as quick as I can each time. That's the customer service guarantee. Quickest shout out you can get. Hello, can I please have a shout out? Yes, Calvin McCabe. You can have a lot of shout outs. Anyway, we got to glue this rubber on there. All right. Is it in the frame? It's pretty good in the frame. It's not 100% in the frame, but I'll live with it. Same idea. Center it. Get it lined up. Focus on that bottom line first. Basically, if you get that bottom line set up well, and then you try to get you don't want the rubber to roll down until you're ready with that roller to roll it down, because then you make sure you get a good adhesion. Right. If you get that bottom line down, but then you lay down a third of the rubber, and then you roll down the rest of the rubber, sometimes it's a little bit different, but then that usually evens itself out, honestly. Even if you see a line where you started rolling in the assembly by like a day or two later, that one will go away. It's more if you get, I don't know, if you stretch it too much or get it bunched up and then glue it down. But then you can fix it. Just let it dry and then take off the rubber and start over. Let's look. So I can tell that my roller box is like dirty. I should clean that. I don't know what I was thinking. It's late for you, Calvin McCabe? Yeah. I mean, I don't know what time it is here, but it's something. Let's see. Yeah, Eric, I'll try to check that out. Calvin, see you later. Have a good night. Well, you do what you got to do, Calvin. You know, if you got to go, you got to go. If you can stay, hey, we're happy to have you. A lot of shout outs here. And yeah, Eric, I'll try to remember to check that out. What do you think caused it, Eric? Rakza 7, the one thing I'll say is that I noticed it here. I'll show you. Where is it? Where is that racket? I just had it. Oh, look. Well, there's a little bit from the glue, but Rakza 7, it can have little lumps in it sometimes with the sponge because it's a little softer. I've noticed it with a lot of T-bar rubbers. This one's more from the glue, but still, you can see little ripples and stuff. It's almost not like bubbles, but it's because the sponge didn't lay down completely flat, and since it's softer, it can get bunched up a little more compared to these harder Chinese rubbers won't do it or Dignics won't do it. But some of the little softer sponges, it can happen. Or if the glue it didn't dry completely right or something, or if maybe it was too much or something like that, it's more noticeable occasionally. But sometimes it's just maybe you laid part of it down and then didn't roll it quite the way it needed to be rolled or something. Sometimes things just happen, you know, not even really our fault. That's why I do a lot of assemblies. So sometimes, if you do enough assemblies, then sometimes things are going to go wrong, even if everything's perfect. Kind of. All right, so that one went down pretty good. Like I said, these rubbers, because they're kind of cheaper Chinese rubbers, they have these, let's call them medium hard sponges. They're dense. I don't know, they're kind of bulletproof, let's say. I don't know why we're saying that, but let's just say it. Oops. Like I said, these rubbers get little slivers kind of where you cut and you can fix them and improve it, but it's pretty good. Anyway, there we go. Like we talked about, if you want the best cuts, maybe use a razor blade or something, right? There's a little jaggedness to this, but this is pretty good. So, flat on both sides, looking good, looking ready to play with. It feels kind of perfect in the hand, actually. Let's see what the weight is. This feels good. This feels like a good blade. I'm happy about this. I think this will be the right blade for my Practice partner. Let's look. Let's see. Let's guess. 88 gram blade, 40/40 on the rubbers. That'd only be 168. Well, just a little bit more. 168.5. Any guesses? Any guesses? Going once? Going twice? Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. All right, 168.5 is my guess. Oh my gosh, way off. 176.86. It's embarrassing. I should stop guessing. Anyway, so 176.86. This thing feels good in the hand. Feels really nice weight. That's a good weight. Good balance, right? This actually really feels. I'm jealous of how nice it feels in the hand as far as the balance between handle and rubbers. I think the speed's going to be good. It's going to be fast enough because of the blade, right? When you hit hard and when you need the speed, but it's also going to have good control on the touch shots because the slower rubbers without a lot of bounce, good grip, and the blade has good feel. This is a good balanced setup. You could get it for $50 assembled from Megaspin, right? So if you think that's a good idea, go for it. And if you're willing to assemble it yourself and source your parts individually, you get it for a little cheaper, right? So a lot of possibilities. I wanted to put this together, try it out for people. Eric, what'd you say? I didn't roll it down smoothly. Yep, that's normal. Yeah, that'll happen, right? So you know why it didn't work, I think. Once that happens, you always got to make the decision. Do you let it sit for a bit and then take it off, see what it turns into? Lately, sometimes if something's got a little messed up but not too messed up, I just leave it and live with it, right? Because sometimes when you take it off, it's such a crazy amount more work to get it even better, right? It's hard to even, once you take it off once, it's hard to get it as good, and to get it better is even harder. But if it's a big mess up, then you can fix it. Sometimes let it come dry for a while, then take it off, or right away. Kind of depends. But one thing you can try is if you take the rubber off, you could remove the old glue using either more glue or something, or just peel it off, and then re-glue it. And if you do a good job, it might even be better. But it's up to you. I'd say that's kind of the trial and error process over time of assembly, right? That's why I always say that I don't mind assembling blades or moving rubbers around and stuff because I get a little better at each time, a little more comfortable with it. And then when things come up, I can kind of figure out what I have to do to make it better. So here we are, the Fextra 7-ply wood blade with T88 rubbers on both sides. A nice all-round setup. I'm not going to bounce a ball on it at this very moment. I'll put the side tape on it. Let's look at it. That'd be nice. So we got the Samway side tape. Came with the rackets. I don't always put the side tape on right away, but this side tape doesn't go all the way to the edges, so it won't affect the rubbers like it could normally. Try to put on even. I didn't really choose. I chose like an awkward angle to try it. All right, let me try and get this turned around. All right. So, here we have the custom-made Samway racket with some Samway rubbers. The reason I don't typically put the side tape on right away is because it kind of puts pressure on the rubbers, but these ones are cut right to the edge. They're glued on there well. I'm not worried about them. So, we'll put that there. Might set a little weight on it or something just for a bit, just to make sure it's on there good. Let's see what I can find. Be right back. It's not quite what I'm looking for. No, that's all right. One sec. It's flat enough and it covers the thing, so I'm going to use it. I basically just want some weight on it to make sure it sticks down. If you have a book that covers it completely, that would be better. But this is enough. And I'm not going to leave it on there for that long, and I'll make sure it gets rotated around so it doesn't, like, long-term mess it up. I just feel like nowadays I'd rather have a little bit on there to hold it down for now. All right, Calvin McCabe. See you later. Shout out again. Have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, that's a good point, Eric. So basically, you're probably good, right? Don't worry about it so much. And then, you put it on, you play with it for a while. Eventually, maybe one day you say, you know what? I'm just going to readjust this or that, or they're getting kind of old. I'm going to switch them. Maybe you switch them to an old blade so you can try them again and practice them. That's what I always do. Like, all these old Rakza 7s and Rakza Zs you see me have, they're from old blades I had before. I just saved them. And now when a blade opens up, I switch some stuff over. All right. And then we can try them out, right? It's fun to have these. That's what actually one of the biggest things I like about Rakza 7, right? I can stick it on all these different blades. You compare them, and it gives you a good baseline to say, oh, this blade plays like this or that, because you already know how Rakza 7 plays. All right? All right. So, this one's a little different because it's got the long pips on this side, so it's not as secure of a base for me to use as, like, putting stuff on. It's a little different. And then we got our short pips. Yeah, so these short pips, I really like these short pips. We already got one player starting to use them. I think a few more players are going to try them out because they work really well. I noticed, like, for blocking, they keep the ball low. They send it back with topspin, but they're not as sensitive as inverted, of course. So, yeah, this is a really interesting rubber. $22 on Amazon, about $15 to $18 on AliExpress. Maybe that doesn't include shipping. So let's call it $20 to $25 rubber. I'm going to put it back on this blade again because I want to have this blade to try out. And then maybe, like I said, I'm going to start using these Fexer blades. Maybe I'll put together some extra ones, sell some, give away some, either with inverted rubbers, but I already know that these short pip rubbers are good. So maybe I can get a good deal on the short pips, good deal on the blades, and then figure out what the other side should be. Probably inverted. I mean, it should be inverted, right? Let's be honest with ourselves. Anyway. So you can see I got the dumbbell on this one, but we don't have to sit here and stare at it. Honestly, it's already been stuck on there enough. It's not going to be a problem. I just want to make sure there's enough force on there. But really, the best thing is to get a hard book that covers the whole racket, doesn't deform, so it's all flat. Cover it and leave it there for a while. I like to use a piece of wood. I think that's what I'll go do. All right, I'll move this to a different location and put a little more wood on it real quick. I showed this on a previous stream. I still haven't made the return board, so I still have this piece of wood. Alright, so I'll set this piece of wood on the racket, put the weight on top, and then it's good to go. Alright, let's move on. Let's move forward. If you've been here a while and you're bored, appreciate you being here. Don't worry about, I won't hold it against you if you head out, but if you want to stick around, definitely do it. If you're new, just getting here, hope you'll stick around a bit, but definitely no pressure. Just hope you're all enjoying your evening. Not a lot of viewers at the moment. I can respect that. Not a lot of viewers, but I got plenty of equipment around here, so who knows, right? There's no guarantee that this is going to stop after this one. No guarantees. Let's see what this rubber weighs real quick, just so we can see kind of the difference sometimes between these pips rubbers and inverted. 52.08. So this pips rubber has a 2.2 millimeter sponge. That's why it's not so much lighter. It's also got, this heavy duty top sheet, right? Like we were talking about with that grip. It's pretty wild. I think this is a cool rubber. Let me know if anyone watching, if you play with short pips, right? If you're interested in short pips or whatnot, what have you. All right, so we'll glue our short pips. That color of the sponge is cool. I don't know if it shows on the camera quite as much, but it's like it's almost like a green tea mochi, right? Just want to take a bite of it. No, it's like a light green color. I don't know. Minty fresh, maybe. Let me know. Let me know if the color of this sponge comes through in the camera the way it looks in person, because it's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. What's interesting, I was pretty sure the other sponge was actually more of a beige color, so I don't know. Maybe this is a special edition. Mochi edition. So, short pips rubber going on the 7-ply blade, all wood blade. It's going to have long pips on the other side for now. That's because I had this rubber around. I took it off a different blade. So it's going to be the combo racket of people's nightmares, right? It's going to have the short pips, long pips combo. It's going to do some funky stuff. We'll see. This short pips is good because it plays like inverted, so I think that's all right. I don't know. I'm not like a pips user, right? I was going to say master. Of course I'm not a pips master. I'm not even a pips user. So who knows? But I do put thought into making the different pips rackets, and people so far have had positive feedback. And when they don't, then I change them and they give me more feedback. Right, like here's one. This is long pips, but there's no sponge there. That's the 0X, the OX. Right, so this is long pips, also very bristly. That's Dawei 388D1. If you can see it. Let me know if you're a pips player out there, what you think. This is a pretty well-known one, been around a long time. On this side, I have the Battle 2, the old school Battle 2. I don't know if you've heard of Battle 2, but let's see if it's still got its tack. Let me clean it. I gotta make sure I clean it well and do it justice. At one point, this was considered the tackiest rubber. Alright, let's see. Let's see if it's still got it. Alright. Yeah, I think it's still got it. It's still got it. Right? This is the Battle 2. Old school Battle 2. It used to be like $22, $23 on AliExpress. Now they have newer Battle 2s, but I don't think any of the newer ones are like this. Battle 2 is the tackiest rubber there was. This rubber is like 3 or 4 years old. It's just been sitting around, right? Where'd the ball go? Has anyone seen the ball? Right? It's like a painting on a wall or something. Oh no. It hit the glue. It's alright. No big deal. Anyway, so I got the real tacky rubber on the forehand. Got the long pips on the backhand. This is kind of like, I don't know. I was thinking you could block over the table. Do some chopping with this and then kind of counter and serve spinning and stuff with the inverted side. So, interesting setup. Let me know what you think. Appreciate anyone out there watching. Alright, so this is ready to glue, I think. That's pretty dry. This is dry. That dried really quick. Short pip's a little different. You can't quite roll it like the inverted, but you can still roll it, I guess. Let's see. We've hit 0 viewers. Oh no, we've fallen apart. It's alright. Everyone went to bed. That's not going to stop us. It's not going to stop us. But I will wait. Okay, now we got some viewers again. Viewers are back. Don't leave. We're putting the short pips rubber on the thing. See? Got the friendship rubber. They actually don't put a marking on this rubber for the middle as far as assembly, so they don't help you out quite as much as you would like. Alright. One sec. So this rubber is pretty firm. It's not like pips without a sponge or that. It's hard to get it and so go on properly. This one's pretty solid, so it's not... I almost messed that up. Still might. Alright. It didn't stick on the bottom as much as I thought it did, so then when I moved it, it started to adjust itself, which you don't want. Right? So you want to get that bottom line started, and then you want to get this part down without laying too much more, but then what happened was I thought I had it, and then it started coming up, so. Especially with pips. Sorry. Make sure this is stuck down, and press it. So if you're watching, I appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions about table tennis equipment or anything like that, or assembling rackets. I might assemble a little more, might not. I don't have anywhere to be. Right. Full disclosure, so I might just sit here and keep assembling things, talking about equipment. You know, the usual. Let me know if you have questions, concerns, comments. Anyway, look at that. That's pretty cool looking, right? You got that green sponge I was talking about with the blue long pips rubber. We got that short pips rubber on there we're going to put on. Looks like I got it on there pretty good. All right. Not sure. Hard to tell with pips sometimes. But yeah, we talk about, look at the texture of the pips. Looks like a Lego town. Something like that. All right. I see the viewers going up and down. I don't know. Hopefully the stream is working all right. I imagine it's just because the nature of it. Should we cut it? What do you think? One viewer. Should we cut it? You just say the word. Say the word. All right, I'll cut it. You convinced me. Just me and my one viewer. I appreciate it. Best viewer ever. It's not sticking to the blade quite like I had hoped. I think, like I said, that glue absorbed into the sponge really easy, like a lot. And so not as much stayed on the surface, so it didn't stay stuck down. We'll see. This one's going to be important to press down, so I'm going to stick this over there to press down as well. But I don't know. Hopefully no issues here. Maybe this one needs 2 layers of glue or something to get... But anyway, this one's my blade, so I can re-glue it if I have to. Not a big deal. Anyway, it's glued on. There it is. All right. That's from before. I moved that from a different blade. That's why it's not on 100% right. So, those were the main projects of the night. I'll stick around a second here if anyone has any questions. I might do a little more assembly. I might not. We'll see. It just depends how I feel. And if anyone's watching, anyone's interested, right? If you want me to assemble some more, I'll keep going. Let me know. I'll move some stuff around. I'll think about what I can do. If not, we can call it a little earlier night, maybe. But let me see. I'm going to put this one under the press. But I won't put too much weight on it because these are pips and they're gentle. You don't want to mess them up. So. Like this. I know, I'm off the screen. How boring. Sorry. Give me a second. So, if you're just tuning it, well, one of those words. I was putting the plank of wood back over the other racket to make sure it was glued down. So, here we are. This is the racket I assembled. This is the main racket I needed to assemble. We'll clean it off here in a second. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to use the spin refresh to clean it. Not necessarily, you know, I definitely don't have to use a cleaner like this on these rubbers in the beginning, especially you could just use water, but this is easier, might as well. That's why I like this one, because the pump is so easy. So like sometimes I found myself in tournaments not cleaning my racket enough because I was being lazy. So the pump one's like easy, just pump it and go. Pretty self-explanatory. So we got viewers again. Viewers, what's up? I already assembled this one. You missed out big time. I know you're like probably sobbing. You missed out on me assembling this. I'm sorry. You could click back if you wanted to, but it's no big deal. All right. Yeah, there's a little bit of glue on the handle here. I think that was just from the manufacturer. So I'll rub that off. Sorry, I'm rubbing here. A little bit here. Anyway, so this one's looking good. The cuts are good. got the side tape on it. It's pressed down well. Happy about that. So that's our Sandway Fexture with T88 both sides. Let it dry off a little bit. Right. Got this there. And then our other one, I've got with the press on it, I think it's okay to leave it like that for just a bit. If you're watching, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know if you're interested in more assembly, if you think we should call it a night. I'm up for anything. If you want me to hop in the rocket ship real quick, I might be able to do it. But no promises on that. The rocket ship didn't have any gas earlier when I tried to hop in it. Let me clean up the trash a little bit around me. Try to get things together. So, should we assemble more rackets, weigh more things? What? Call it a night? I'm open for ideas. Are we done assembling? I'll go in the chat on a different place and type something so you can see what I'm talking about. So people tune in. Let me know what you thought of my assembly skills there. If we're happy, if we're not. Let's see if that chat works. Yep, so that's me. Type in the chat asking you, should we assemble more stuff? Do you want to see more equipment? What are you interested in? I'm on the phone, so I don't have as good of a setup as far as showing you the different products on the different websites. But here you go. That's the racket we made today. If you want to learn how to make a racket like this, you can click back through the stream. You can watch more of the streams in the future. You can ask me, and I'll assemble another racket. I definitely don't mind. So this is the one we just made. Setting it up there. We're getting this long pitch racket out of here. That was just for demonstration purposes. Yeah, you let me know. Let me know if you're interested in anything else. Where you're watching from, if you play tennis, table tennis. Whatever. Whatever you want to talk about, we're here. We're on the Table Tennis Assembly Equipment channel. Watch, ready? I'm here. Whoop, whoop. Disturbing, right? But I had to let you know we're out here. Doing our thing. Assembling rackets. If you have any questions, let me know. Let's see. I'm going back on another stream to double check that my face did indeed make it there. For anyone watching, you want to see me hop in the rocket ship real quick? You guys who have been here, let's see if this works. I'm not sure if it works. Rocket ship. Find a face. It says, all right, you found it. Right? Okay, so we're in the rocket ship. We're assembling rackets. Our racket assembly team has been left on the moon. We need to go pick them up. So we're in the rocket ship. And that's all I have to do with that. I think that's enough rocket ship for now. But you tell me if we should be in the rocket ship for longer. Okay. So, we've run out of rackets to assemble, kind of. Right? I can definitely find more rackets to assemble, like I've said. You just got to let me know what we're looking to do. Otherwise, I'm going to hang out for a second, keep chatting. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where it leads. Let me know. What do you think? Would you rather me sit here and talk to you all about anything? We said this cleaner's good deal. Lasts a while. Be careful. Don't scrub the top of your rubbers off with it. There's not a lot more for me to do at the moment, but in a second I'll take this weight off this other rubber. Hopefully it's on there right. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? You want to weigh the Viscarias? Do you think there'll be a difference in the Viscarias? One's got Dignics 80, one's got Dignics 05. I know my friends out here that like to weigh stuff might want to watch a little bit of that. Let's see. Go to our old stash. These are the Viscarias I used before my Harimotos. Someday, I think I'll go back to my Viscarias when I'm ready. But for now, I like the inner carbon. You never know. Maybe I'll never play them. Maybe I'll play a different blade. Maybe I'll even go slower stuff. But I have them set up with these Hurricane 3s on the forehands and Dignics 05, Dignics 8 on the backhands. I actually didn't play with these for all that long. I mean, a few months of each one. I'm talking about the specific setup. I played for like 2 years or more with the Viscaria in general. I had 2 because of the tournaments. But let's weigh them. Let's see. I'm not sure if they'll be that different. Scale there. Yeah. So that's the Dignics 05 and Hurricane 3 on my Viscaria FL. That says 186.25. All right. So 186.25 for that one. 181.06 for this one. This is the Dignics 80, and that's a 1.9 millimeter sponge, so think about that. Right, 1.9 millimeter sponge versus 2.1 millimeter sponge, so it's a little bit lighter there. Otherwise, I mean, this one's beat up. I think this one's older, but I'm pretty sure those blue sponge Hurricanes are the same. And actually, if you look, this Dignics 05 doesn't even cover the whole thing. It's beat up and moved. I moved it from a different blade. So this Viscaria must be considerably lighter. I'm considering taking these rubbers off these blades, weighing the Viscarias. I could put different rubbers on or reboost these ones. I played with the Hurricane 3 for a bit. Let me know if you're watching, if you've played with Hurricane 3, if you play with Viscaria, what you think, right? If you play with Viscaria, do you like a lighter one, a heavier one? Or really, if you play with any blade, what do you think about the blade weights? I'm going to clean these and let's look. Let's see what condition they're in and we can make a decision. Maybe we need to assemble these Viscarias or something. Right? I usually don't use a sponge with this rejuvenator, actually. I usually use my hand, but it's like a scary movie, right? With the slasher movie. Yeah, like I was saying, you got to be careful when you use this cleaner on these types of rubbers, because what happens, it has the tacky rubbers have little, like, they're not rocks, but they're like little sharp pieces. They get stuck in the tack, and then you clean them, and then you brush them with something like this, and as they roll across the surface, they cut up that surface. I've seen it, and it'll start to take off like the actual top surface of the rubber. So actually, let's see, maybe I've already done more damage than I should have. Yeah, I don't recommend that cleaner for these rubbers, if I'm being honest. I don't like it. I think it does something to them. So we won't use that on the other one. We won't use it on this. We'll use this one. So if you're here watching, let me know if you're enjoying the stream. If you'd rather me just go to sleep, shut it off, I'll let you make the call. Yeah, this didn't work either. I think you should just use water on tacky rubbers, really. That's my recommendation. I think that's the way to go. So I'll use this on the Dignics 05 to clean it off just so I can see. The reason I haven't taken this Dignics 05 off actually is because last time I tried, it was so stuck to the rubber, it was breaking apart when I took it off. So I stopped, just left it on. Will I follow my own instructions? Yeah, I will. So this one's just normal water. You gotta be careful with this too, though. It's the same idea, right? There's so much stuff on the surface of the tacky rubbers if you don't clean them often. And then you roll it around, and it can damage the surface, because even though they're very durable in general as far as hard sponge, this and that, this actual like gloss on the top sheet and that stuff is kind of fragile from abrasive stuff. It's like if you have a car and it has a bunch of dirt on the surface and you just try and wipe that away with a little bit of water instead of rinsing it off properly first, I think. Anyway, I'm trying to get this off here. If you're watching, let me know what you're thinking, right? It could be about table tennis equipment. It could be about table tennis, VR table tennis, practice, whatever. If you're just hanging out, let us know. All right, so that was better. Like, the water's just better, I think. So these are the Viscarias. One of them was considerably lighter than the other one. I forget which one it was, but it was. Oh no, it's the Dignics 81 because this rubber is lighter, and I'm sure the blades are a little different too. That's why I never got into the habit of weighing blades in the beginning. I never knew about it, never cared about it. But I know people ask me nowadays. That's why I got this scale. That's why I try to weigh the different blades here and there. So you can see these are Provincial Blue Sponge Hurricane 3s. They aren't like crazy tacky. They were boosted at one point. You could reboost them at some point. Probably would if I was going to play with them, but I'm not going to use them for now. I'll go back to those eventually. So yeah, let me know if you've ever used Viscaria with Hurricane 3 or with Dignics 80 or Dignics 05. Let me know what you think about that combination. Let me know what blade you use, what rackets you like, if you assemble your own rackets, if you buy them pre-made, what. Let me know. Viscaria, iconic butterfly blade. A lot of blades are based on it, right? Fanjindong ALC, Zhongjika ALC, T-Mobile Spirit, T-Mobile ALC. Those are all like the same construction basically as this, with little differences in terms of the handle and the wings, and maybe a little treatment to the wood on the outside. But otherwise, very similar blades. So we're done with this. You can see this stuff lasts a long time. One, because you don't need a lot, and two, because I don't like using it that much, so it just sits around. If you're just joining us, this is the racket we assembled tonight. It's clean. It's ready to go. It's from my friend. Walmart brand from Yogi Bear. What's up, Yogi Bear? Which one's Walmart brand? The Viscaria or this one? None of them are, for what it's worth. But definitely not the Viscaria. I don't think... Well, they might sell Viscarias at Walmart. That would be pretty cool, right? They probably do. They sell a lot of stuff there. Same with Amazon, right? It's no longer just special places. Yogi Bear, what type of racket do you use? What's up? Yeah. Oh, the ones you get. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah. So yeah, good control probably. Probably not super fast, not super grippy. Maybe some pips out. That's fair enough. Well, if you use Walmart brands, so for example, this one. Yeah, I bet you do. So this one I actually assembled on purpose because it's a affordable racket, right? You could get this blade for between $20 and $30 for the wood. You can get these rubbers for between $6 and $10 each, right? So we're talking about cheapest. You could put this together as around $35, and for $50 you can get it assembled for you and shipped to you from Megaspin real quick. So Walmart brand, you're not going to beat $50 for price too much, and you're not going to beat the performance so much. Yeah, these ones were boosted a long time ago. That's when I was practicing the booster. So like, let's think. I was using Viscaria back. Well, I used Viscaria for a while, but I only used H3 Hurricane 3 from like September, October. Yeah, really like 2 or 3 months I only used the Hurricane 3. So yeah, these were boosted then. I used like 2 layers of booster or something. One of them domed up more than the other. Yeah. So these are 2 boosted. Let's see. These things have just been sitting in the cabinet. Let's see what they feel like. I could bring them around sometime if you felt like trying them, Eric, if you want to play with them a little bit. So you can see what a difference Hurricane 3 is. Very dead rubber, right? That's boosted, but it's still a lot of control. It's very good on the strongest shots and the best touch shots, but in the middle suffers a little bit. Like that's the Dignics 05, right? Look at the bounciness difference between Dignics 05 and Hurricane 3. Right, Hurricane 3. It's also sticky, right? That's the other part too. Part of it's the bounce, but also with a sticky rubber, each time it hits the rubber, it kind of sticks a little bit. All right. But still, the bounce on the 05 is quite a bit higher. Let's check out this one. This one's not as sticky, so bouncing a little more. Definitely more lively. Maybe it was more boosted. And then this is the Dignics 80, which is 1.9 versus 2.1. Definitely fast. Dignics 80 is supposed to be like the more all-around speed and spin version. 05 would be a little more the spin-based version. Let's see. So this one, I mean, they both have good stickiness. This one feels faster when I bounce it there for sure. This is the one, I think I boosted this one second, right? So I boosted this one first, kind of figure out what worked, what didn't, and then boosted this one and played with it more. You can see it's more broken in, it's more used. It shows more use on the front, right? So not crazy used. Hurricane 3 like shows the wear pretty quickly, but it still works well for a long time. I kind of like these setups, right? Even though I switched to the intercarbon Harimoto, I liked this Hurricane 3 on the forehand of the Viscarias with the Dignics rubbers. This felt like a good setup. It's just that when I got that new Interforce blade, I wanted to switch to something else, and I didn't have any more Hurricanes, and I had other rubbers I wanted to use. I also don't think Hurricane 3 is the best rubber for my style. I like blocking and kind of counter hitting and blocking, and I said blocking twice, but it's not 100% the perfect rubber for my style, let's say. But yeah, so those are my Viscarias. One's lighter than the other, of course. Somehow they're not exactly the same weight. Let me know what people want to see. Let's weigh a few more rackets just out of curiosity. These are all, so like I say, the reason I kind of sit here and try and promote assembling your own rackets and stuff is because all these rackets you see that I have, you know, a lot of these rubbers are from other blades that I assembled for other people or switched from other ones and put them on these blades, right? So this Paleo Cat, this was the first blade I ever bought off AliExpress. It cost me like $16 at one point. It has carbon in there, but it doesn't play like a fast carbon blade. Carbon on cheap blades is just there to make them more like stable and deal with the, you know, add a little speed, because otherwise they wouldn't have much to them, right? A cheap carbon blade from just like a normal cheap one, like under 20, under 15, definitely isn't like a faster one for the most part. Let's see. These have Dignics Blue Storm rubbers. Let's weigh it. Oops, sorry. One sec. I pressed the button on accident. So 158.72. So what's interesting, you can kind of see that a lot of these other rackets I've made with kind of the all-around blades, all plus, and the all-around rubbers, they're lighter, right? The sponges aren't as dense because they're not as hard. The blades are made to be lighter. So it's normal, 158.72. That's the Dignics Blue Storm, both sides of the Paleo Cat. This is a Malin soft carbon with Rakza 7, both sides. Wow. 136.5 grams. This is a super lightweight racket, right? I don't see how that's possible. It doesn't feel that much lighter. Yeah, I was wrong. 181.44. I'm going to have to reweigh that one. Something might have been off with the weight. Yeah, that makes more sense. 181.44. Let's compare this one with the Yula Viva. Right. So this is Rakza 7 on the Malin soft carbon. Definitely not slow. That has a good amount of bounce to it. Feels actually quick. Right. Malin soft carbon, good looping setup. Recommended. It's got good feel because of the softness, but the carbon gives it some stability. It's like a step up from the Yasaka Sweden Extra, which I have here. Right, I'll show you. So, Yasaka Sweden Extra, that's recommended as kind of the blade for many people to use. 5-ply all-around blade. Kind of not super slow, but not super fast, just right in the middle. And I have Rakza Z on both sides of that, which works well, but Rakza 7 works well as well. But basically from that Sweden Extra, the same construction, but you add the carbon layers and you get the Malin soft carbon. Right, also a good setup. And then let's look here, because we have these Rakza 7 rubbers on two different blades. This one is a Yula Viva 7-ply clipper clone, meaning it's like the Stiga clipper, which is an iconic blade. I've never used one, but whatever. Malin soft carbon, like I said, it's the inner carbon blade. As far as I know, it's got the carbon next to the core and then a piece of wood there. Maybe it's not inner carbon. Maybe it's just soft, right? Soft outer wood with that. But let's look at these two. So like I said, this one, not slow, not fast. It's good aggressive setup, but good control, good spin. Rakza 7 both sides. Good weight, good balance. This one's 7-ply blade. Actually feels slower on these for the touch shots, but I'm pretty sure on the fastest shots it would feel just as quick. 7-ply blade. This one's light. Let's see what it weighs. Okay, 175.32. So a fairly light blade. Right, easy to maneuver, slightly smaller blade face. That's the Eula Viva. Get some of these out of here. So yeah, just freestyling, weighing some stuff, looking at stuff. Nothing important. Let me know if you're hanging around, what you want to talk about. So look here, hard bat racket, short pips both sides, no sponge, 5-ply all-round wood blade, very light. Let's see, this is gonna be light. 132.05 weight. So yeah, very light racket. This is a hard bat racket. I mean, you could play this in a hard bat event sanction because there's like 10 short pips rubbers that are allowed in hard bat play. Right, this even says for championship play. So it's the Osaka A12 short pips, no sponge. And the only requirement for the blade is that it's all wood, right? You can't have a carbon blade in hard bat. And you have to use one of those 10 approved rubber coverings. Osaka A12, I think there's one called like Cobalt or something. I'm not sure. You'd have to check the list of approved coverings. But that's for hard bat. And then check this out. If you ever watched it, if I ever showed it before. But this is a sandpaper racket, right? So you hit, is actually, I don't like touching it. But that's sandpaper on the racket glued on there. Let's see if I can stand it up straight because I don't want that to touch my scale. Look at that. That one's not even 100 grams. That's 97 grams, right? Because the sandpaper barely has any weight to it. Just 2 pieces of paper. And then you got that blade. A little bit of heavy blade, right? So I bet that blade's at least 90 grams, 92 grams. And the rest is the sandpaper and a little bit of glue. So we're here. We're weighing stuff for whatever reason. I don't know if you have to have a reason, but we're here. Assembling stuff, talking. Chit-chatting. Right? So thanks for watching. Thumbs up if you're enjoying it. Let me know if you want me to talk about anything in particular. You can see here, this photo was taken on a trip recently, past few hundred years. We were playing ping pong in the mountains. I'm getting pretty hungry, so we're either going to end the stream or I'm going to start eating. I'm not sure which one's going to happen. I suppose once you're done assembling, you should end the assembly stream. So, without further ado, thank you to everyone who watched. You don't have to listen to me anymore. Hopefully I'm going to stream in the morning, so appreciate it if you join me then. We'll see. Later.